The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, it's Coach Curl here and welcome to the podcast. What makes a great leader? Today we're talking about service.
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. Finish on. Coach Curl.
Hey there and welcome. It's Tony here and welcome to episode 119 of the Coach Curl podcast. Today we're continuing our journey of what makes a great leader, and today we're talking about the concept of support. Now, as you know, we've gone through and we've looked at the core of leadership, which is our character, our credibility and our calling. Last week we looked at the concept of service. You know, who do you serve? You serve your people, you serve your team, you serve your organization. And today we look at support. And once again, this is encapsulated in the concept of what I call, and many other leadership experts call, the heart of leadership. Now, last week we talked about service. This week we talk about support. And support has a absolutely very clear and distinct methodology when it comes to becoming the best leader that you possibly can. So, and one of the aspects here that I want to share is support's just not about the support that we provide for others. I mean, although that's an incredibly large chunk of what becoming a great leader is all about, the support we actually give to others, but it's also the fact that we need support. We need support. And that's something that gets missed by a lot of people in career and in business. They believe that they've got the ability to be able to get to where they're going by themselves and they don't need other people. And when we have a mindset like that, the reality is we're limiting ourselves in how far we go. We're limiting ourselves in how far we go. We're not maximizing what we have because we're not looking for, in some cases, we're not even looking for support because we've got maybe a bit of an overconfident streak that we've got the ability to get to where we're going by ourselves. We've got the thoughts, we've got the mindset. Now, there's a lot of sayings in and around this. You know, one of them that comes to mind, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. And the concept of support really does tap into not just the support that we give to others, that we should give to others in any sort of leadership role, but also the support that we need. And by providing support, we will often get support. So let me just share that concept. So for us to get support, we have to support. So it's that whole concept of reciprocity, reciprocal intention. It's when people trust you, they're going to support you. You know, there's a whole lot of concepts that are tied up in this in this principle of support. But the key for me is that yes, we need the support of others to achieve anything of note. There's no one of significance in our world today that has done that by themselves. Absolutely. Okay, never. I would be hard pressed to find one out of history where someone has become a superstar, they've become very successful, they've created significance in the world and they've done it by themselves. I would find that incredibly difficult to find anywhere in our history. We need other people, just as other people need us. So what is support from a leadership aspect, and what does that mean? Now, support is all about supporting your people. If there's any other question in relation to support. Yes, you are going to support your clients, you are going to support your customers, but for me, the concept around leadership is about the support that you provide for your team. And the support is a really clear principle here around the development of your team. You know, I've got a very strong opinion that you build the team you want from the team that you have, and you can only do that by support and development. Now, sometimes you're going to develop someone who doesn't necessarily want to be developed, and maybe you work with that person, maybe you know a person that I'm talking about. So some people don't like or get really uncomfortable with the accountability of taking charge and control of their own growth. But as a leader, that's one of those non-negotiable, mandatory type things that you should be doing. You should be creating a culture of growth, and you should be bringing people along with you on the journey. You're steering the ship, you're rocking the boat. You're taking them to places that they never envisaged that they could go. You're creating that picture, you're creating that vision, you're becoming that manifestation for their lives, and we're doing that through the concept of support. So support encapsulates a couple of key things here. We look at nurturing someone. So when we've got a nurturing approach to our team, you know, we see this all the time within family environments. We see people being nurtured along. We see that. We also see it in those great companies where people will nurture people to become better than what they are. We see that in some sporting environments where a coach or a manager or a owner actually nurtures someone to be so much more than just a sporting player. They take them to places, they open their eyes up with the community. They really nurture them to find a passion and a purpose for them, because as we know, a lot of sports people struggle when they leave the sporting life, the microscope of being a sporting star. And you'll see in those really good clubs there'll be someone that nurtures those people so that they don't have a void when they leave, when they retire, when they're forced out through injury. They've got something that they're aiming for, and they've got something that becomes their purpose. So nurturing is a really clear aspect of what I call the service heart of a leader. Now, the development aspect that we talk about, you need to be spending time with your people just to talk about them. Now, I know that that's going to be a pretty weird topic for some of you, potentially, and it's going to be a really weird topic for some of those managers that I know that you've worked with. Because sometimes when a leader's talking to you, 9 times out of 10, well, sorry, I won't say 9 times out of 10, maybe 7 times out of 10, it's about the leader and not about you. But I really challenge the people that I coach that they need to be sitting down and having a listening post. Just sit there and listen to other people and the individual members of your team, and doing this individually, not as a team. Development occurs one-on-one in many cases. And so, yes, there is a room for group training and there is a room for group coaching, but when a leader's talking about coaching and mentoring and developing and stretching their people, that's a one-on-one conversation. And the conversation really clearly needs to be a lot more talk from the person that you're meeting with, and a lot less talk from you. So, but making those development conversations a consistent part of the process. Next week I'm going to talk about structure, and I'll talk about why that's important. But to be consistent with those development conversations is really, really important. It's taking people to places that they may not really want to go. I'll share a story. A leader that I was working with was really struggling to bring this concept in with his team. The ones that are coachable, the ones that love the concept, were there with bells on every time that they had an appointment. The ones that weren't were making excuses for not doing what they said they were going to be doing. They were trying to avoid the meeting by saying, oh, no, I've got a really important client appointment that I can't miss. So they were making all these excuses not to get involved in the process, not to own the process. And that's saying a lot about them, not about you, but you need to make that process mandatory. And every now and again, you are going to bring and drag someone along on that journey with you. Someone that may not want to go because they're quite happy flying under the radar. They're quite happy just getting by. But it's when you see the potential in them and ultimately and support that growth of that potential, because you know that support of the growth of the potential will actually benefit you, the organisation and the team. So that's not the only reason why you're doing it, of course, but you want to try and maximise people's potential. So in terms of those development conversations, that really does become a very much a listening post for you, and hopefully you're asking the right questions that get people thinking about where they're going. A really good model to use is just what we a lot of coaches use. It's called the GROW model. We talk about a goal. What is the goal that they're trying to achieve? What's the current reality around that goal? What are the options and the obstacles that you're facing in relation to that goal? And then let's look at a way forward. What are the next things that you're going to be doing? And so we look at goal, reality, options and obstacles, and the way forward. Now, I personally use another model, but that's a really simple model to use. The GROW model is a really good opportunity to use. You frame your questions, you get the conversation going, and you develop your people, because the development of your people is an absolute clear responsibility of a leader. And it sits within the heart of a leader. It sits within the heart of the anatomy of a leader. So another key aspect is that care factor. You know, people don't care what you know. You've heard the saying, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So we actually need to care for them. We need to care for the fact that we want them to get better, and we can that we do show that, have that empathy for them in becoming the very best that they can be. Being aware of the problems that they solve, the problems that they solve for the organisation, but also being aware of the problems and issues that exist in each and every one of us traversing this thing called life. So people need to know that you care, because when they know that you care, it helps build that trust equation. You know, so and that's a really important aspect. Another one of the aspects that I talk about when we talk about support is that social awareness that is part of our the emotional intelligence space. Social awareness, being able to be aware of how we're being perceived by others, and then making steps to make that more safe and comfortable for people, because that's part of the support process. You don't want to be a leader that people are cringing when you go and talk to them. I mean, so if you need to be aware of social awareness. We need to have that concept of, this person's backing away from me. Something I'm doing is making them feel unsafe, and having that self-awareness that starts to drive that drive better behaviours from yourself. So social awareness is a critical aspect of the service heart of the leader in the support function. And it's also the concept of fairness. Now, David Rock in his SCARF model talks about fairness as one of those key things. If people don't see things as fair, we usually get a defensive reaction. And, you know, funnily enough, here in Australia, that's what we've seen with a lot of people in the latest federal election. A lot of people claim that the election has been incredibly unfair to the people of Australia because their sense of fairness has been threatened. And for us as a leader to be aware of that within our team, you know, where there is a sense of unfairness or what people are feeling in respect of fairness, is really important. The last one that I'll talk about is just the sense of kindness. You know, some leaders out there will probably see kindness as a sense of weakness. It's not. It really isn't. Kindness is something that we should be doing each and every day with everyone that we meet on this journey. So kindness is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's a sign of courage to show kindness to people that you don't agree with, show kindness to people with different viewpoints, to show kindness and respect for when you're dealing with someone from an underperformance status. For example, if you're working through an underperformance management process, performance management process, you know that treating them like dirt's going to not create the response or the behavioural change that you need. But treating people with kindness and respect and caring actually goes a long way to getting people, if their performance is able to be righted, you'll see that's the way to do that. And so even showing kindness and respect when you're terminating people is absolutely critical. I mean, we're not brought into this world to be callous, retrograde robots. We are brought into this world to exhibit kindness and share, and that's a key part of the support function here in the service heart. So, and that. So in a lot of respects, as a leader, we're here to navigate for people. We're here to empower them. We're here to have their back, and many leaders will sacrifice for their team, and we see that as they continue to grow. Support isn't weakness. Support isn't weakness. Kindness isn't weakness. Nurturing others isn't weakness. And one of the key outcomes that you get when you operate in the support space is that you'll see your people will have hope, and you'll see an encouraged team. And everyone needs hope, and everyone needs encouragement. And when we encourage our people, we find that they are more driven, they're more productive, they're more likely to perform, and importantly, they're more likely to overcome obstacles and obstructions. Hey, I'm Tony. I hope you've enjoyed episode 119 of the Coach Curl podcast. Today we've talked about service. Don't forget, thanks to Think and Grow Business. If it wasn't for them, this podcast just simply wouldn't exist. Think and Grow Business, improving the performance of people in business through personal, professional, and business growth. We also, please go out there. I've written a book. It's called Seriously Simple Stuff to Get You Unstuck. Life certainly isn't easy, but it can be simple. And I share a selection of stories, sayings, and strategies for you to lead a simplified life. Don't forget, 20% of every book sold goes to support the great work being done with Carter's Cause. Now, Carter's Cause raise funds and awareness for the great work being done by Heart Kids Australia. So check it out at carterscause.org.au. Our new sponsor, Totally Builderall. Now, this is an integrated digital marketing platform for every business owner out there. Go check it out. Check it out at totallybuilderall.com. Sign up for your free 7-day trial. Test it. There's landing pages, there's webinars, the list is just far too long. There's animated video makers, there's chatbots, you can build your own app. It's just an amazing platform. Go check it out. 7-day free trial available at totallybuilderall.com. Don't forget, where you are still standing, stronger, braver, and wiser. And don't ever forget the golden rule. Just don't be an arsehole. I'll see you next week.